Hey everybody, it's
What's up, sheeple?
Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
I'm wearing a red hat, and I'm Victoria.
We're
And
back.
Echo.
Yeah, it's been a while again. My hair is crazy long.
It's bigger than your face.
Oh, look at it. It's like, if I stretch it out, it's down to here.
You need a haircut.
I do, but I'll be home in 20 days and I can cut my hair. Look at this.
Devin's gonna visit me for grad. We're maybe gonna get some filming done, but no guarantees.
Yeah, because it's not gonna be very long. Victoria's gonna have tons of
be
grad party
a
stuff.
crazy weekend.
Yes, it will.
Full of partying.
Okay.
But not doing any bad things.
So,
making wise choices.
What are we doing today, Victoria? Oh, first...
we are going to yell at each other and validate ourselves.
First, we should give the news first, probably. Number one news thing is Katie Lee and Will Ryan have released a book.
Continue talking.
Yes, thank you. They have released their first book for both of them called Adventures in Oddity, which tells the story of them being on Odyssey and their lives and their relationship with the show and stuff. And I haven't gotten my copy yet because it has to relay to Victoria and then to me.
Look at this beautiful book.
I haven't read it.
I read this book in one sitting.
Hold it closer.
I read this book in one sitting. It was very good.
How thick is it, by the way? I'm guessing it's not very thick because you read it very quickly. Yeah.
It's about 80-something pages, 89 pages.
So, yeah, that's going like gangbusters. There'll be a link down in the description, of course. The first 100 copies, which I'm sure
has some beautiful illustrations by Will.
First 100 copies are autographed, and then you can also get like bonus stuff. I bought like the highest deluxe version, which is where Will Ryan hand drew illustrations in it and colored them in himself by hand. And we also get a phone call with Katie or Will. So oh
look, there's Will Ryan's autograph.
Right now we have that.
Look at that! You're all jealous.
We have it scheduled for December, which is like the next time that Victoria and I will be together, and there'll be hopefully an ample amount of time to do that. And hope maybe we could finagle the phone call into becoming an interview.
No guarantees.
No guarantees, but we're hoping.
I don't think he'd want to do a phone call that long.
Well, no, we might be able to see if we could do Skype instead of phone or something like that.
I don't think we'd be able to convince him to talk very long to us. But
we'll see. We'll see.
I'll use my powers of persuasion.
Yes.
Which I don't have at all in any way.
What are we doing today, Victoria? 2 things.
We are going to argue at each other and validate ourselves.
Yes.
And we are going to discuss and predict things for the, I'm partly deaf, I'm sorry, for the album 59 names of the episodes that were just released.
Yes, we have all the names.
And I'm sorry about this lens flare.
We have all the names for taking the plunge now, so we'll do our prediction stuff through that. And we are going to have a discussion. Does Adventures in Odyssey revolve around Eugene Meltzner? This is a topic which, first occurred to me a long, long time ago, and we've referenced it numerous times on this podcast before, as usually happens with the discussion episodes when we do them. It's because we've mentioned, we'll do an episode on that one day, so many times that finally we're like, dang nabbit, we need to do this episode finally.
Dang nabbit.
So, here we go. Does Adventures in Odyssey revolve around Eugene? Unlike our other discussion episodes, where we kind of discuss a point on the same side and just go through our arguments for it, Victoria wanted to try counter-arguing for this one, so
I don't agree.
I don't think we're going to be able to declare a winner objectively, but
I'm going to win.
I think it'll be an interesting discussion, nevertheless.
Tell us who you think did a better job arguing and who you think...
A better what, Mr. Haywood?
Won. No matter what, I'm going to win.
Okay, before we start...
I am determined.
Since there's obviously only 3 real contenders, I think, for who could be said to be the main character of Adventures in Odyssey, I grabbed some quick episodes.
Is the third one Jimmy?
No. He's like he's like the 15th mainest character on the show in terms of episode appearances. Anyways, even Lucy's higher than him as a kid. And Matthew,
really?
I think.
Well, I guess that makes...
Okay, so stats on Whit, Connie, and Eugene, since they're obviously the three mainest characters over the course of the show.
Thing gonna point out, I'm not allowed talking while Devin's arguing, and he's not allowed talking while I'm arguing.
Yeah, we've kept at least that much semblance to an actual debate. This isn't...
And then we're gonna debate both sides.
This isn't part of the argument, this is just opening statistics. So, Whit, his first episode was Whit's Visitor, which is episode -13. It's the first Family Portraits episode, but I put -13 just so we could kind of frame it in relation to the other episodes. He has been in 549 episodes. His longest gap was 57 episodes from Blackbeard's Treasure to The Search for Whit. And he was gone because he was in Israel. I'm not counting, I'm counting original audio only. I'm not counting, if they use clips from past episodes or stuff like this. This is original footage.
I did the same thing in my argument, so I was hoping that you did that too. Can I read the next statistic?
Oh yeah, you have it, don't you? Oh yeah, and that gap from Blackbeard's Treasure to The Search for Whit was because Whit was in Israel. So 57 episodes. Okay.
So next person is Connie. Her first episode was Connie Comes to Town. And that was episode 4 of Adventures in Odyssey. She's been in 373 episodes. Her longest gap of not being in the show is 9 episodes. And I believe that was Darian's Rise.
Yeah.
And that gap was between BTV Live to the Inspiration Station, and she was gone because of passages.
Yeah, that one was actually pretty hard to find. That literally 9 parts of passages was the longest gap Connie's ever had on the show. And it was exactly that.
That's weird to think about.
She was in the episode before passages directly and the episode directly after passages.
There we have it. Connie's the most main character. She's missed the least episodes.
And finally, Eugene, who first appeared in Connie, Part 1, Episode 51. He has been in 268 episodes. His longest gap is 115 episodes, which is from Mandy's debut to a most intriguing question.
And the only character that has a longer gap not being in the show than Eugene is Jeff Lewis.
No, there's very, very many.
I know. I just want to say Jeff's name.
Jeff Lewis.
Jeff Lewis.
And that was obviously because of Novacom, or work, and then Novacom, and then running around the world.
And then memory loss and...
Yeah.
Crazy shenanigans.
A lot of consecutive things where he wasn't here. Okay. My argument. So,
ding, ding.
My main argument behind Eugene being the main character / the center of Odyssey is twofold. Character affecting plot and plot affecting character. I posit that A, Eugene has driven the plot of Adventures in Odyssey more than any other character, and B, that the plot of Adventures in Odyssey has driven Eugene's character development more so than anyone else's. So, first point, Eugene driving the plot. There are 5 big action-adventure / mystery sagas, as far as I can see on the show. Blackbeard, Novacom, Leonard Meltzner, The Green Ring Conspiracy, and The Ties That Bind. Although the last one obviously doesn't fit quite as well with the action-adventure mystery theme, but... There are also other character-driven arcs on the show, such as relationship arcs and conversion arcs, Connie's book, The Strasbourg Separation, etc. And we covered all of this in our Sagas Beginner's Guide very, very recently. If we look at these arcs, we see that there's a very heavy bias towards Eugene's involvement in causality, importantly, over other characters. The applesauce portion of the Blackbeard saga, to start out, was caused solely by Whit, because he invented applesauce. However, the entirety of the arc, of the Blackbeard arc, was mainly to get the catalyst under Whit's end, and Whit wasn't even around for the majority of... he wasn't around for any of Darkness Before Dawn, and so he was gone for the entirety of the climax of the Blackbeard saga. Connie really didn't do a whole lot foundationally in terms of causing or ceasing the drama, but it was Eugene's investigation of the tunnel soil that allowed him to discover Blackguard's ultimate plan. He also created the search program that clued Jason into the Roku connection. For Novacom, the connection is very much stronger because Eugene, even though he never had any original audio in the entire saga, he was the biggest protagonist cause of the entire arc, given that he invented the radio brainwave conversion technology that was the entire crux of the plot. Wick comes in as a close second because he created the Imagination Station, which was the second most important component, and Wits and Connellsville was also a large plot point in the saga. And there's the fact that X ends, apart from the after the credits scene where they're like praying and reading verses to each other, X ends with a message from Eugene, and the last episode in Novacom's epilogue is all about Eugene returning and trying to recover his memories. The Leonard Melsner saga, obviously, is very strongly focused on Eugene, because it is all about him and his family and his search for his father. He instigates and moves along with all the action, and he's in every single episode in that arc, obviously. The Green Ring Conspiracy has slightly less Eugene in a pivotal role, but he is still important. Possibly his most important role here is he and Katrina as they interact with Buck. He's also the first one to note the counterfeit bills, and he hacked the Appleberry, which was the center of basically all the drama. His importance in this arc is probably only slightly above average, though. And then we have the ties that bind. Eugene is extremely important. He and Katrina taking Buck is one of the most central storylines out of the many, and possibly the most anticipated one for fans. He's also the one who discovered the identity of the Perilous Pen and about the Vigilantors and that they were threatening local businesses, meaning that he also, in addition to Buck, wrapped up the two biggest storylines in the entire album. His relationship with Katrina is by far the longest relationship arc on Adventures in Odyssey. It's much longer than Connie and Mitch, or Jack and Joanne, or any other ones. According to our count in the Beginner's Guide to Odyssey saga episode, their relationship is actually the longest arc in the show, including all the previously mentioned action and mystery arcs, and everything else, although obviously that depends how you count it. And Eugene's journey to faith is also far longer and far more involved than anyone else's on the show, even counting all of Connie's moments that were lost to Harley episodes being banned. My opposite side to things is the plot driving Eugene's character development. So the more convincing proof for me, in my opinion, everything I just said is like, that's good, but for me this is the far more convincing thing, which is to look at how the plot of Adventures in Odyssey has driven Eugene's development over the year, more so than anyone else. As stated earlier, the longest relationship arc and the longest conversion arc both center on him, so that much goes without saying. For the action and mystery sagas, however, every single one moved his character forward in a definitive, concrete, milestone way, which isn't something that you can say for anyone else on the show. The Blackguard saga's climax, Darkness Before Dawn, is strung together in the middle, in its most pivotal moment, by Eugene giving his life to Christ. Since album 3, we'd have this slow building of his search for answers and confrontations with Christianity, from Back to Bethlehem, to the Mortal Coil, to Last in a Long Line, to A Touch of Healing. This wove into his relationship with Katrina, culminating in the turning point, and then Darkness Before Dawn served to strip Eugene of every comfort and safety in his life, forcing him to grab onto the only true handhold in reality, God. To be sure, other characters received development from the Blackguard saga, but none of them as huge as Eugene. Connie got more growth than him in the Applesauce saga, but hers in album 5 was nowhere near as big as Eugene becoming a Christian in 25. And Wit wasn't even in Darkness Before Dawn, so he's obviously discounted there. Later in Novacom, we take another huge milestone leap for Eugene, because he finally gets married after years and years. Even though he doesn't properly appear in the entire thing whatsoever, he still manages to have one of the most long-awaited moments in the last 7-ish years of Adventures in Odyssey. Once again, much development occurs, especially for Aubrey, who had a very long stuff like that, but still can't really compare to Eugene getting married after 7 years of relationship episodes. The Leonard Melsner saga, once again, obviously needs no explanation. Eugene found out his father was alive, that he had a brother, another huge milestone in his character, facilitated by Major Saga. And the Green Ring conspiracy doesn't seem to be too impactful on Eugene independently, but you combine it together with the ties that bind, and we see Eugene and Katrina meeting Buck, who would go on to become their foster son, giving them another huge milestone in their lives and development, finally having the child that they couldn't have. This isn't at all, please don't take it to say that other characters don't receive character development and change from arcs, because they do. Wit, not so much, because he's actually an extremely stagnant character on the show. Connie's gotten lots of stuff over the years, but as the show has openly acknowledged over and over, she is pretty stuck where she is. It took her 31 albums to go from age 15 to graduating, and then another more than 22 albums to begin college from there. Other jobs have ended, and she returns to Wit's End. Relationships break up, and she goes back to being single. Connie's had lots of personality development, but overall, in terms of net change, from the beginning of the show, she's become a Christian, graduated high school, and began college. Every other piece of plot development for her life has reverted back to where it started. Eugene has become a Christian, found his long-lost family, discovered new family, gotten married, has a foster kid, moved from student analyst to missionary to philanthropist to professor, and his interactions with Major Sagas are all full of concrete, discrete places of moving forward, whereas most others, like Connie, just have vague trait shifts and lessons learned. Two additional points I have. One, there are only 2 albums in Adventures in Odyssey which have had character names in the title. One is The Search for Wit, and the other is Eugene Returns. So they're both tied on that front. And secondly, Adventures in Odyssey has only ever released 2 music albums. Both of them are titled after and star and feature Eugene. And that is the end of my opening argument.
Okay, so let's give my opponent an applause.
Don't patronize me.
More condescending.
Thank you, GLaDOS.
You're welcome. By the way, you're adopted GLaDOS now. And you're fat.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that my slow clap meter made it into this potato.
Anyway. So, now my argument, called Odyssey does not revolve around Eugene.
That's original.
That's the title at the end of the page, or at the top of the page, because yours is, does AIO revolve around Eugene? My short answer for that question is no. It does not. I have a long answer too, so don't worry. So
I feel like you put a lot more time into presentation than I did.
No, I'm just coming up with all this on the spot. So, AIO revolves around what it is named after. It revolves around Odyssey and the people who live there. Eugene didn't come into the series until episode 51. It's not like people were just walking around in a daze before Eugene came in. They're like, oh man, what do we do? My life is so empty. And then Eugene comes in. They're like, oh, the plot can begin. It's not like they were just not doing anything. You can't talk until I let you. So, like, really think about it. Eugene didn't even exist until a girl decided to write in a letter. And she's like, hey, this would be a cool character. And then they're just like, okay. And, like, literally all they had to go on was, like, 1, he loses his keys. That was there for, like, 3 episodes. And then it was never mentioned again. 2, he's smart. That's it. Like, going into the show, he had, like, 1 thing. It's like, his stereotype is, oh yeah, he's smart. What else can you say about his character? He knows a lot of statistics. Yeah, but what else? He's really smart. He works at Wit's End. Most people do in Odyssey. So, just because a character has the best done development in a series, it doesn't mean that the series revolves around them. This is the best example and parallel that I can think of. Okay, so Odyssey revolves around the town of Odyssey, and more importantly, Wit. Wit is the main character, but like my opponent said, he does not have that much development. Eugene is a character that was based on a one-note thing, which grew into the most developed character in the show, although he is not the main character and it does not revolve around him. My example and parallel for this, I'm going to give explanation. Please don't laugh at me. So an example is, don't laugh at me, in a web series I watched called Red vs. Blue, the main character's name is Leonard Church, and the series centers around him because, like I said, he's the main character. Now, all of the other characters in the series get as much screen time as Church does. In some cases, they get even more screen time than Church does. So Church, just like Wit, is the main character, and Church does not get as much development as the other characters, even though he is the main character. But, here's the thing. What I think you're talking about more in this case, Devin, is best done character development, not if it centers around them. And that is another topic completely that should be addressed in another video, so what are you even doing? No, I'm kidding. But because if you allow me to elaborate with my RVB example, if we take Church again, even though he is the main character, he does not come even close to having the most or best done character development in the series, although he is one of my favorite characters.
Tucker.
Yes. Don't talk, please. Another character in the series is named Lavernius Tucker, and he is tied for Church as my favorite character because he is by far the most developed character. Every season Tucker is in adds like 10 more layers to his character development, so much, and to his personality, that he is almost unrecognizable if you go back one season or more. I have watched multiple seasons, jumping through episodes, just looking at Tucker, and it's like he's a different person every single season. But it's not that he's just sporadically a different person every season, like he's suddenly out of character. They're adding on his character and changing him in a beautiful, beautiful way. Lavernius Tucker has the best character development I've ever seen in anything. So, if we look at what Tucker was like in season 1, he was literally made to parallel another character in the show, but just to a lesser extent. So basically his stereotype was lazy in season 1. You go to season 2, his stereotype is like, oh, he's a pervert now, and he's lazy. And that's all you had to go on. He literally had the least amount of character compared to everyone else in the show. If you look at Eugene, he came into the show, it's like, oh, he's smart. But what else? Oh, he has a really high IQ. He's smart. Just like Tucker was a pervert and only had one stereotype. Both these characters didn't really have much going for them in the beginning. So if you look at what Tucker was like in the first couple of seasons in the show, he goes from being a lazy, useless, somewhat incompetent, spiteful pervert who doesn't really like any of the fellow characters in the show, and he doesn't really consider them his friends. So this is what he's like for the first couple seasons. They are now on season 13 of Red vs. Blue. It is now currently running. And what he is currently like in the show, this is him now, the lazy, useless pervert guy. He's now a skilled warrior, a proud father who loves his son so much and takes very good care of him. Stop smiling. And he's a brilliant and responsible leader who watches out for and is proud of and cares for his men and fellow soldiers. And here's the thing, just like Eugene, Tucker was also gone for a period of time in Red vs. Blue. There are 13 seasons in the show. He was gone for all of season 6. His only appearance in season 6, his name is mentioned, I think, twice in the entire season. It's the only season he's not in. Stop cleaning your nails. Listen to me, you jerk. He's in one scene, and it's an audio clip. You don't see his face. It's just like what they did with Eugene while Eugene was gone. And it's a small audio clip which alludes to what Tucker is doing at this time. It's only about like 10 seconds long. And just like Eugene, Tucker was in hiding when he sent in this audio clip, and he was in danger and he needed help. Anyway, my point is, Wit, and more importantly Odyssey, are the center and heart of the AIO. Eugene might have fantastically done ever-continuing character development, but that does not really matter in the bigger picture. Just like in Red vs. Blue, even though Tucker's amazing, it always comes back to church, because that's how the show works. One last point, my dear brother. If you were to summarize Odyssey for someone who asks you to do it, what would you say? Because I have had to summarize Odyssey for people I know many a time, and I know what you're going to say. And the point is, yeah, I'm getting you with this one. This is my best point. That face. Yeah, that means I'm winning. If Eugene really is the center of Odyssey, as you claim he is, you would make your entire summary about Eugene. Someone would ask you, I was like, oh, what's Odyssey about? I hear you talking about it. It's like, oh, it's about this guy named Eugene, and he's really smart, and he argues with this girl named Connie a lot, and he works at this place called Wits End, and then he works at a college, and he has this really complex relationship, and then he has a kid. And they're like, oh, that's cool, I guess. But no, what you would say is, it's about this town called Odyssey and this man named John Avery Whitaker who runs this ice cream shop, and the people who come into Odyssey and all the relationships between all of the citizens. Because if you make your entire summary about Eugene, that's not what the show is about. The show is about the town and Wit and all of the townspeople in Odyssey. Eugene is a main character, just like Connie. He is the best done development, but Odyssey and everyone in it, Keely, Wit, are the main parts of this show. Even if you look back to when they first created Odyssey, Wit was the thing that led to the rest of the show being created. Thank you.
I have to congratulate my opponent, who just did a very good episode of the Shizno podcast.
Thank you. Shush.
That was the best comeback I could come up with in 10 minutes. I would like to posit that Caboose is the main character of Red vs. Blue. And that he is
a lie. Caboose doesn't even show up for the first couple episodes.
And Caboose is obviously the most analogous character to Eugene, so clearly I'm right.
Well, Caboose is the smartest character in the series.
QED. So
you might say that Simmons is Eugene because he's the smart one, but Simmons also actually has like reverse character development.
That's true.
He like recedes in character development, so I'd compare him to Connie. Sadly.
Okay, so Victoria made a very good argument. I am genuinely impressed.
Especially with the last point. That one's my strongest point.
That was very good. As soon as I knew where you're going with that, I was like...
You're like, I've lost.
Well, I knew I lost a long time ago. I mean, I think it's interesting. I think we should have... I was thinking we should have probably framed the question better, because it's kind of ambiguous what we say when we mean the show revolves around them. Because I contemplated naming this episode, is Eugene the main character of AIO? But I wasn't saying he was the main character. I was saying the show revolves around him. Originally, the idea was just my first point, which is that Eugene drives all of the drama. He was the drama catalyst for the show, I think is what my original idea was phrased as. And then I realized how he has major milestones from every arc as well. And so basically my idea was that he is more of a driving force behind the plot of the show than anyone else. But
there are tons of other characters who are huge driving forces too.
Yeah. So yeah, you said I wasn't talking about revolving, I was talking about character development. I think I was, like, one of my points was character development, yeah. And the other one wasn't, and together I was putting that as
I kind of talked about both of them too, though.
But yeah, I think I have to agree with you to cede you The debate that I honestly expected you to go with something way farther out than RVB when you talked I thought you were going to say like Winx Club or something like that because you're like, you're going to laugh and it's like this totally out there thing. But no, RVB was a very good comparison to draw. And obviously
I was thinking like, what show has done really good character development? And I thought the best character development I've ever seen is RVB. So
and it's definitely like a company cast show like Adventures in Odyssey.
Plus, both shows have been running for a very long time.
That's true.
RVB is the second longest sci-fi series ever.
And Adventures in Odyssey is the second longest running radio drama ever. Another parallel.
What's the first one?
It's that Unshackled show. It's like dramatizations of stories of how people have come to Jesus, and it's been going since World War II.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It needs to stop so that Adventures in Odyssey can be number one.
Yeah. It was funny in the video with Bernie, and he's like, the longest running sci-fi show is Doctor Who. All we need to go is for another 30 years and then we'll beat them.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up RVB because obviously it's really fresh, all those stats and stuff in my mind because I watched Bernie's full screen presentation to MIP just earlier today, as did you.
Which was very well done.
I think another parallel for what Odyssey is like in terms of the way that you framed it with RVB came to my mind while you were speaking, which is the solar system. And it fits really well into turning...
Are you calling Eugene the sun?
No, that's the point. It fits really well into what I said because in the solar system, we have the sun.
The moon has such good character development.
I know, right? It's like crater after crater, damaging its character, tearing it apart. Oh, the feels.
And like, I can't wait for that one fateful day in the solar system series when we get to find out more about the moon's dark side, because I just want that arc to be explored so much.
When Pluto got killed off.
I cried when Pluto got killed off.
Not to mention that angsty storm on Jupiter that's been raging for 600 years.
And like, honestly, Uranus just like is the most disgusting character ever.
Smut. It's just smut. Fan service.
I know.
That's all.
I know. That's like worst character. I hope they kick Uranus off.
Did you say I hope they kick Uranus off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't mean to say it, but I did.
Okay. I'd like to point out that was some high quality humor that we just pumped out right there. Okay.
Are you okay? Because I'm not.
I'm turning that onto a chat post on Tumblr.
Thank you.
Okay. What I mean is that in the solar system, we have the sun, which is at the center, and we have all these planets which revolve around it. And the sun is, like, I mean, from a more broadly astronomical perspective, I mean, I guess if we're looking at it from a creationist perspective, it can apply as well. From a conventional astronomical perspective, the sun is much older than everything else, and it's been around forever, and it really does not, it changes much, much slower than everything else around it. And everything else that revolves around it, that's where the interesting things happen, namely Earth. Earth has by far the best planetary development compared to, you know, Jupiter or Saturn or Mars.
Or Pluto.
Jupiter or Mars.
Yay.
In other words, Wit is the sun, and Wit/Odyssey is the sun, and the other characters are the planets. And so Wit doesn't really change, but he's the oldest one, and everything revolves. It revolves, like in the title. Everything in the solar system literally revolves around the sun. And despite the fact that it's the planets, like Earth, most of all, that have the best development and the most interesting things happen, they all still revolve around the sun at the center.
Devin, that's why Wit wasn't there in Darkness Before Dawn.
Oh, you. Man, we are on fire tonight. It's just, like our last episode, the review that we did with the Whittaker Approves. This is what happens when we don't record for too long. We just get so filled up with witticism and then just splurt it out all over the place. It's disgustingly hilarious. Okay, so... Yeah, I cede the point to Victoria.
I told you I was going to win.
Yeah, I told you that I figured that was a definite possibility.
See, the funny part was back when Devin launched this idea to me. He's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then he sent me his notes, and I read it. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't agree with this. And then I'm just like, how about this? I rebuttal your argument because I don't agree with you. And then all I get back on Skype is just like a couple moments of silence, and then all I get is back, oh no. And the next one says, I'm going to lose.
And I did, graciously, at least, and humbly. Yeah. I have to give you that. And what you said, your last point, was definitely really good. If you're going to describe Adventures to Odyssey to someone, you're not going to describe, Eugene's life story.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, I was typing this out, because I typed out my entire point in about 10-ish minutes.
I mean, I will still posit that Eugene drives the show forward actively more than any other character.
I agree with that statement.
And that he has the best character development both. So both of my two individual chunks were both true, but to add them together and say that means that the show revolves around him is false. So everything I said was true other than what my conclusion was. My thesis was a lie, but literally everything else I said was perfect.
Well, if your thesis is a lie, then you shouldn't do it in the first place.
Well, you're the one who made me see the light. Literally, the light, which is the sun, which is Wit's giant face shining from the sun like the baby in Teletubbies.
The baby in Teletubbies is so terrifying. Anyway, I think my...
Any closing gloating remarks?
I think my parallel was well done.
I think so. I was very surprised. That was very sharp parallels to draw.
Because, no, if you think about it, though, everything matches up perfectly.
It did. I was
just going to, like, match up Eugene and Tucker, but then I also thought, like, Wit is a perfect example of Church, except for the fact that Church has more character development than Wit. And
they do have slightly different personalities. But his name is
Church. They have such different personalities.
But his name is Church, so that's a good similarity to Wit, right in that there. So.
Yeah, Church, and it's funny, when he came back after being gone for so long, some people asked their bosses for the days off of work because they had to go to see Church, and then they actually got the days off.
That's awful.
I know.
It's like people who, like, take time off from friends and work to watch Doctor Who by saying they have a doctor's appointment. Okay, is that everything then for this bit?
I suppose so. Any closing remarks?
You won. I was right in everything except for the final conclusion, which you did, and all of your points were really good. And you had a lot more flair and style in your presentation, which I appreciated very much.
Thank you. I can't get over the solar system thing. It's so funny.
The moon's dark side. That was really good. And when Pluto got killed off, those.
You said that one though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Uranus is such a vulgar character.
Oh, like Tucker. Tucker's Uranus and Eugene is the Earth. Those are the differences between them.
So what's Connie?
Venus? I don't know.
Pluto's Mitch. Because
okay, we need to stop this part.
He got killed off, and then everyone missed him, and then they brought him back, and everyone's like, oh, we wish you were still gone.
That's not what happened at all.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I just want to say that I think you did a good job, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Your argument was very well done, aside from... your points were really good, but they didn't completely connect, and that's why you didn't win in the end. I want to say that I'm proud of myself.
Okay, Mrs.
For my
Tickler.
argument. That's not very nice.
No, it's not.
But
okay, we should go into our predictions now, though.
Anyway.
Because we're 40 minutes in now.
I'm proud of my argument. I think I did pretty good.
You should
I think you did pretty good.
Thank you.
We're both winners, except for I won more than you did.
That's like Megamind, right? You were right, I was also right, but you were more right. Or did he say that he was less right? Either way.
I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in years.
That's exactly what's going on here, which is why we need to stop and do our predictions.
I love that movie.
For album 59, Taking the Plunge.
If this is Megamind, the only way this conversation can win is if I kill you, but you don't really die, and I don't learn till later. And then Tina Fey shows up.
Which is always the best way that any circumstance can play itself out. Okay, we are going to go to our predictions now, and
the dark side of the moon.
Stop recording.
Why it wasn't in
We're going to stop recording now.
Dawn.
See you in a minute. Goodbye. And we're back here now to wrap up this episode with the last little snippet as we discuss our predictions for album 59, Taking the Plunge.
Dark Side of the Moon.
We finally have all of our information in about it, enough that, you know, the cutoff for when we do our prediction episodes, in case you haven't noticed, is when we get all of the episode titles out. So we have the episode titles, 2 descriptions, the public one and the OAC one, a bunch of notes that Paul talked about the album in the December official podcast that we discussed previously. And then we have the release dates and the album artwork. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Okay, descriptions first, I guess, seems like the place to start. So the first public description, which was released, is as so. In the all-new album, Taking the Plunge, your favorite Adventures in Odyssey characters are faced with life decisions and hard lessons. Will Penny take the plunge and say yes to Wooten's marriage proposal? Will Eugene solve a mystery about missing money? Will Buck make the right kind of new friends? Will Olivia discover how to create a perfect family? Take the plunge into adventure and learn valuable life lessons about commitment, conflict, expectations, and secrets in 6 audio dramas from the award-winning team, creating 27 years of fun and entertainment for the entire family.
Can I just say,
6
will
episodes.
Eugene solve a mystery about missing money? Yes, that happened a couple albums ago.
A couple.
Maybe you weren't there, but yeah, he did.
It was a while ago. He electrified himself. It was great.
That's how we met Buck. Oh, I was talking about Green Ring Conspiracy.
Oh, I was talking about Suspicious Minds.
Oh, well, yeah, that definitely happened.
That's why when you said a couple albums ago, I was like, yeah, a few.
Buck was born, regardless of what they want us to believe.
You're like, it happened a couple albums ago. I was like, a few.
A few.
It's okay.
I mean, it was in album 8. It was 51 albums ago.
Okay, Eugene has solved multiple mysteries about missing money. That wasn't about missing money, though, the GRC, really. Suspicious Minds was missing money. GRC was counting money.
Hey, I had this thought like 3 days ago. It was, you know how they were calling Ties That Bind a battle for the very heart and soul of Odyssey? So I was thinking about it, and I was just like, you know, I wouldn't really call it that. I would call the Blackguard Saga a battle for the heart of Odyssey, because they were fighting for, like, Wit's End and stuff, which is the heart of Odyssey, which I clearly proved in my amazing argument.
You did.
Thank you. I would call Novacom a battle for the minds of Odyssey, and
that's exactly what I was going to say.
I would call Green Ring Conspiracy a battle for the wallets of Odyssey, and I would call Ties That Bind a battle for Buck's custody. I just thought of that one now because I couldn't think of one a couple days ago. I mean,
I'm sure, given the theme of the Ties That Bind, we could come up with body parts analogous to the theme, but I don't know, it's kind of borderline. So,
yeah, I was trying not to go there.
The most pertinent things to draw off, obviously, we should discuss 6 episodes in this album, not 12. And this is not a half album like when we had 44A, 44B, and 45A, 45B, which then later merged. They merged into 12 episode albums later.
Made no sense.
This is an entire album with 6 episodes.
The half albums are like Doctor Who doing half seasons.
Yeah.
Just, it's pointless.
So, yeah, the 6 episodes. So basically what's happening with that, the reasoning behind that is that the old model is that 24 albums would be released in a year. 2 albums comprised of 12 episodes each, and you'd have 1 spring season and 1 fall season. They would each be 12 episodes, both would be released as albums to the public. In 2014, the Odyssey Adventure Club started, and the model for that year and for this year, or I guess not technically this year if we had an album this spring, is that there's still 24 episodes, but 12 are OAC episodes, exclusive to the members, which we found out there are approximately 5,000 of now. Phil Aller said on Facebook the other day.
Woo!
which is more than I expected, honestly. Excuse me. Still a very small fraction of 6 million listeners. 12 OAC episodes, and then 12 regular album episodes, which was the fall season, which was album 58, Ties That Bind. So what they decided was, because they only have, because the 12 public episodes were released in one album, that was too clumped together to have only one album per year. And so they're still releasing 24 episodes per year. It's still the same production rate, but because half those episodes are on the OAC, they figured the other 12 episodes, instead of putting them in one season in one album, it would be more cost effective and better for us in terms of spreading out time-wise to put them into 2 6-episode seasons, one in the spring, one in the fall. So the idea is that we'll have 6 episodes of Taking the Plunge in the fall this year, and then next spring we'll have another 6 episodes of album 60, 61, fall 2016, etc., with still having the other half of the episodes, the 12 OAC ones, releasing throughout the year, each year. So that's why there's only 6 episodes. I don't like the idea that there's only 6 episodes in an album, but I must say it will make things easier on a recording schedule, at least for the Oddcast, so that's nice at least.
It's convenient, but it's not that great.
Yeah, it's convenient for us, but for the other 5,999,998 fans out there, it's not quite as nice. Okay, so other things in that description. Obviously, it's very heavily continuing on from album 58, because we're starting right off with Penny and Wooten.
And yet, we won't find out what Olivia's adventure was in the Room of Consequence.
Well,
great.
Paul did say that he might explain that in a book which would come out before 59.
Might.
Before 59, possibly. Sorry?
Might.
We'll see.
It might not be a book, which means we might never learn what happened.
And of course, now he's leaving Focus, so who knows what's happening?
You know what? I bet he was just like, Phil,
he's like
we gotta go
politician.
get those books done and stuff. And he's just like, oh, right. Oh, you know what, guys? I'm really tired. I think I'm gonna quit.
Retire.
And they're just like, what? No, don't quit. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna quit. Bye, guys. And then they're just like, but how will we ever find out what happened in the Room of Consequence? And he's like, you won't. And then he's
like a politician. Most accurately, he's like Leslie Knope in the scene where she famously compares herself to a white male U.S. senator, in that he can do no wrong because he is on the...
you can't touch me.
He's on the out end of his term, which means he can make whatever promises he wants because he doesn't have to fulfill them anymore. They can't do anything to him.
We love you, Phil.
We do. Okay, so yes, so continuing on. Penny
Forward by Phil Lawler. Plug. Actually, the foreword made me laugh really hard. It's worth reading if just for the foreword.
Victoria, please, we have to get through this. Okay. Penny and Wooten is like the first and foremost thing that has to pick up, obviously, because it was like the cliffhanger scene of album 58.
And you know what this is? I'm reading Great Gatsby right now in English. Wooten and Penny's relationship is totally the same relationship that Gatsby and Daisy have.
Hopefully it turns out better.
I don't know. I haven't finished the book yet. I think Gatsby's gonna die, but I don't know. Anyway.
Hopefully it turns out better.
Although their relationship isn't as creepy as Daisy and Gatsby's.
Yeah, well, I meant that too, for a myriad number of reasons.
I just don't really think Wooten and Penny's romantic life is very healthy.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, picking up on Penny and Wooten, we're also picking up Buck. How is he going to transition now that the dust has settled, living as Buck Meltzner?
Buck Meltzner.
And Olivia.
If Buck and Penny get shipped together in any way, we can call it'd be like Buck and Penny. Get it? Because it's money. And
well, that's because all the GRC characters were money puns.
I just realized that as I was saying.
Yeah. That would be an interesting ship. Wooten proposes, and she's like, sorry, Buck has come in and swept me off my feet.
And it's like, your name doesn't relate to money. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Who cares if your family's like one of the richest families, because your name isn't money itself.
You don't even have a dark side like Buck does.
That's what it means. That's what it means. Why will Buck make the right kind of new friends, or will become too close with Pennywise? Okay. Anyways, and then we also
OTP,
have
Buck and Penny.
We also, yeah, their ship will be called like 101 cents or something like that.
Connie will go to Eugene and be like, "Your son stole my roommate from me."
Okay. Olivia and the family stuff is going to be continuing here, as we can see, so that those themes are also going to be continuing on. Let's go to description number 2. This is the one which was posted on the OAC as the album description as soon as the album went up for airing, which began May 8th, and they're posting one more episode on there. Unfortunately, already every Friday, even though it's not going to be out on the radio until September at the earliest.
Have they started releasing them?
Yeah, they've already put out 2 episodes.
Oh.
Yeah, there have been spoilers out already for things that I've had.
Didn't you say you found out a spoiler?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Okay. Description number 2, which is slightly more detailed in terms of individual episodes, especially since there's only 6. Wooten's unexpected marriage proposal to Penny triggers a lot of soul-searching around Odyssey. Penny wants to know what it means to be committed to someone for the rest of her life. Connie can't be sure how the relationship as friends will change. Meanwhile, Wooten is looking into rebuilding his house, but runs into conflict with the neighbors. Eugene uses his computer talents to help the Odyssey police solve a mystery at the bank. I can solve it for you. It was the bank manager who robbed it. How do I know? Because that's what happened the last 2 times that the bank was robbed. It happened.
Add mystery to the clock tower.
It happened in album 2.
Money things that Eugene solved.
It happened in album 2 and in album 52. Both times it was the bank manager who robbed the bank.
Yeah, but Eugene wasn't there in album 2.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, Eugene uses his computer talents to help the Odyssey police solve a mystery at the bank, and Buck becomes entangled with Vance's gang in a way that looks like trouble. Where will it all lead? Join the folks in Odyssey as they take the plunge to learn about commitment, discernment, expectations, resolving conflict, family legacies, and more.
You know what family legacies I want to find about? Eugene. I want Everett and Leonard to come back.
Oh.
I want Leonard to come back, and he's going to be, like, older, and then him and Buck are going to see each other, and then Everett's going to be like, I'm your uncle. And it...
So from this one, I am really glad that that Penny and Wooten's proposal, I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be, like, a quick thing to resolve whichever way that goes, but I'm glad we're going to be looking at how that affects their relationships with other characters, too, like Connie and Penny, how that'll affect them. Wooten rebuilding his house, having problems with presumably Mrs. Kramer, and so that's also continuing on from 58. Buck and Vance, that's still a thing, all this stuff, and we're still going to be talking about family legacies. Yes?
I just want to point out that this sounds like it's going to be a continuing storyline throughout this album, and all of the episodes have different titles.
Yes.
That makes me so happy. Why couldn't they do that before?
Okay, we should probably get on. Should we get on to the episodes now? Paul's notes about the album or the artwork?
Let's do the episodes last.
Okay.
So we have the most information.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so in the podcast, we talked about the episode right after our conclusion of The Ties That Bind, because we didn't find out till after, unfortunately. But Paul, in I think it was December 14th episode of the official Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast, they had an interview with Paul McCusker. It was somewhere in December, easy to find. Just look for his interview. And he talked a lot about what's going to happen in 59, leading on from 58. So here are the notes that I took. Paul confirms that we'll explore Penny and Wooten's relationship more before Penny gives her answer about the proposal. She'll take an appropriate amount of time to pray and consider before responding. We won't see Buck and Eugene's fishing trip, sadly, but we will get a lot more development building on 58, obviously. We're going to learn more about Penny's background, and we're going to meet her family in either 59 or 60. Which's mysterious health issue was not just a convenient plot point for 58. It is going to be relevant in the future in some vague, subtle, yet important way.
Oh, man.
And it sounds like Olivia's adventure in the Room of Consequence may be its own side album or possibly a book trilogy called Sideways. So, but we don't know. We don't know. If it's a book, it may come out at the first book may come out at the same time as 59 comes out, but we haven't heard.
I agree with you in your statement that we don't know because we don't know anything about her adventure.
Yep. Yeah, the lesbian zombie apocalypse. That one.
Yeah, the lesbian zombie apocalypse that Olivia survived through.
Barely.
So,
like I said, the album started airing very recently already. May started May 8th, and every Friday a new episode's coming out for 6 weeks, obviously.
As you can probably tell, Devin and I have not heard any of the episodes as of yet.
And we obviously wouldn't have before doing this predictions episode at the least. The digital down...
I hope not.
No.
I mean, like, we did hear some OAC stuff while doing the prediction.
Yeah, but this is different. Digital download for the album will be in July. The hard copy will be for sale in August. And it will come out on the radio in September or October. Because, of course, releasing to the public is the last thing that should happen.
Yeah.
It's not like, heaven forbid, everyone should be able to hear the episodes at the same time for the first time, so that not everyone's spoiled about everything.
Okay, I think we've talked about that enough, though.
Okay, album artwork. I posted the link to the high-def image of the artwork, as I always do, from AIO Wiki.
I'm going to move your picture out of the way so I can look at it.
And it is Penny. Yeah, see? It is. I just noticed it just before we started recording. Wait a second. Because Victoria notices, or basically clued into what happened in the background behind Wooten, right as she hit record. So we're going to pause for a second so you can hear the audio from what her reaction was when she saw it. Yeah, and then it went on from there.
I sounded like a dying dolphin. I didn't actually see Buck. Just Devin's reaction of, don't look at the picture any further. And he said that as I pulled it up. And then I saw Eugene, and I'm like, oh, Eugene's there. And my first thought was, is Leonard there? Is Everett there? And then I'm like, oh, Buck's there. Buck and Eugene went to the carnival
Well, you said
together.
As a statement, so I assumed that you saw it. And then I was like,
I didn't see Buck.
And then you realized
I just assumed.
That's what it was, yeah. And then it really did sound like a dying dolphin. That is actually an eerily accurate description of what the sound sounded like.
Yeah. I'm gonna get paid royalty fees for that. Phil Lawler, if you're watching,
the
and you
ocean
ever need a dying dolphin noise in AIO, just call me up.
Okay, so
I'll do it for you.
We see Penny in the foreground about to throw a ball at Wooten to put him in the dunk tank, and it's a pun because he's taking the plunge.
Oh, I get it. Sorry.
We literally discussed this the day the album artwork came out. We're like, taking the plunge. Ha, ha, ha.
I just saw the over 2 hours of audio entertainment, and it just makes me sad.
Oh, yeah, that is actually really depressing.
Yeah.
Remember that's 5 or
Buck
6.
looks so shifty in the picture. He's like, what?
Looks more
Mr. Eugene, what are we doing here at a carnival?
He looks like... That is a good question. Yeah, we have such good memories with carnivals. Let's go here.
What's Eugene holding? Is he holding a metal detector?
He's
holding a metal detector. It probably has to do with the money case.
I think that's a cork gun. I think he's playing a carnival game.
My second guess was a Ghostbusters gun.
It looks a little bit like a flamethrower, but no, that's a cork rifle because he's playing a pop things down.
Yeah. There's going to be 2 scenarios that they could possibly go into that situation with. One, Eugene is going to go into him and be like, watch your old man Buck show you some skills. And then he's like, gonna just like completely fail at it, just so utterly badly. And then Eugene's like, Buck will be like, it's okay, Mr. Eugene, let's just go do something. Eugene will be like, well, I bet you can't do any better. And then Buck just like is walking away and he just shoots it, gets like a prize or something.
Well, yeah,
like, gets the big teddy bear. Or even better, it's just like the fishing thing. And then Buck gets like really high points and he's just like, oh yeah. And then he's like, you want to try Mr. Eugene? And he's just like, oh no, it's overrated. I don't want it. And he's like, no, try it. And then Eugene gets like everything, and Buck's like, I don't want to go at the carnival anymore. Let's go home.
Just like
I want to go back to Katrina.
Yeah. I think we're done with fishing.
And
I want to go home now.
No, like they'll walk away and Buck will be like, this is just like when we went fishing together.
I was going to say the first thing he said, because in 53, Buck did talk about like how he used to shoot tin cans in the kitchen all the time. Mm-hmm. So we can see there's a creepy clown.
Actually, when you said, like, don't look at the photo, the clown was the first thing I noticed. I thought it was going to be the clown from
Avert your eyes.
Big Top. So...
Connie from the 60s is on the far right there.
The two people who are in the side right by Penny's hand that has the ball in it.
It's Connie from the 60s. And Eugene when he's 70 or 60. It's Connie in the 60s and Eugene like in his Tom 60s.
With darker hair and a bigger smile.
Who? Sorry?
It looks a bit like Tom with the darker hair and a bigger smile.
That's true.
But I don't know why, but I just want to say those are Penny's parents. They look a lot like Penny, except for they have brown hair.
It's a possibility she could dye her hair, or it could be genetics. I don't know. So many possibilities.
But if you look at Penny's roots, like I am in the picture, I can't actually see her roots because she's wearing a hat. But there are a lot of darker lines in her hair, which means Penny is a bottle blonde. And she should be ashamed of herself.
Well, I am looking at her roots, and they are brown. And by her roots, I mean her parents. Because they're her genetic roots. That's where I thought you were going with that. Anyways, there's not too much to discuss on the cover. 6 stories on exploring commitment.
It's nighttime in the picture.
That is true. This album will take place in more than 24 hours, probably. Across.
Devin, what's not going to be in this album because it's nighttime?
Wit never sets on the British Empire. Okay, so...
We're going to learn about the dark side of the moon in this album.
Now, yeah, Wit's never visited there. Okay, we need to wrap this up. Seriously, we're taking a very long time. Episode titles. We'll go back and forth once again. Okay, start off with 777 First Things First.
Which I'm going to say
we're going to read the titles
I don't
first.
know if I've said this to Devin, but that's going to be the first thing Penny's going to say to Wooten, other than screaming. Like, she's either going to scream, that's going to be her first line, or she's going to be like, first things first, and then she's going to scream.
Well, she did kind of scream, because she was like, what?
Yeah.
Anyways, first things first?
Yeah. Oh, we're going to talk about it?
No, we're alternating reading the titles.
178, Playing the Predictable.
Or 778, whichever. 779, A Big Commitment.
What number did I say it was?
178.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
Anyways.
A big commitment.
I just read that.
I know. I kind of cut you off.
This is a mess.
780, Dinner Roll Models. That's a weird name.
781, Out of the Woods.
And then 782, Let's Get Together. Do, me and you.
Think of all the times you share.
There's something about a crocodile.
Let's get together. What do you say? Anytime and anywhere. Okay, first things first. First things first. Obviously, this will be the one that immediately picks up on Penny and Wooten and what's going to happen. And they're going to talk about stuff, and they're going to tell everyone. Everyone's going to be like, wiggity what? And it's going to be a whole thing.
I'm just going to say this while I have it brought up. When Devin sent me the episode list and I skimmed over it a couple days ago, I saw Out of the Woods, and I put... the synopsis of Out of the Woods is they admit Into the Woods is a terrible musical with despicable characters, and the only good part in the musical is the agony number. Because it is so
You were so excited for Into the Woods once upon a time. I still haven't seen it, Into the Woods.
It's not very good. I didn't like it as a stage performance.
You were so excited for it when you saw they're making a movie.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I remember you being excited.
I said, hopefully it's better than the musical, because
Oh.
I don't like the musical, but I'm not going to have my hopes up.
Anyways. Playing the predictable. We basically have clues as to basically every episode from that OAC description.
Can I say that playing the predictable is the one with Eugene, trying to solve the one about the money, and it's the predictable part in it is it's going to be the bank manager, because it's always the bank manager.
The butler did it.
Like, they're literally going to start the case. It's going to be Pull House. He's going to walk into Wit's End, and he's going to be like, Eugene, I have a case for you. And Eugene's like going to take out his glasses and be like, yes, sir. What is it? And it's like anime glasses like that. And then it's like,
the negotiator.
And then like the sparkle and everything.
Yeah.
And then Pull House is just like, it's a bank case about missing money. And Eugene's just like, the manager did it, and then he just walks away. And then Full House checks into it, and he's like, oh, the manager did do it. And then it's just 20 minutes of silence after that.
Just dead air.
And then at the end, Chris is like, well, that was an exciting episode.
Buy albums 2 and 52. On a more serious note, I think it sounds like it could likely be the one about Buck and Vance's gang, maybe, because the idea of predictable in terms of Buck still trying to break out of like what everyone expects him to be because before, maybe.
That's what I think it's going to be about too. Honestly, I don't really know why they're trying to bring up this huge thing like, will Buck join Vance? It's like, no, he won't.
I know, I heard someone talking, so they're like, I still don't trust Buck. And I was like...
Wait, what?
They're like, I still don't know if I can trust Buck or not, if he's really changed. And I was like...
Like, in the last album, there was that thing. It's just like, oh, don't trust Buck, or don't trust Vance. And Buck's like, oh, okay, I won't go near him. And then they have like their little fight and stuff over jewels or whatever.
Well, I don't think that sentence is meant to question in any way whether he would join up with Vance. I think it's pretty clear that he's getting tangled with them in an antagonistic way.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until a little bit later. But
anyways, okay.
They're gonna get in a fight at school, and it's gonna be like a Eric thing,
which is still exactly what I thought of in 58 when he had that fight, was like father like son. And
then they're gonna be like, Buck will be like, you don't know anything, Vance, and Vance will be like, your dad is smart but nothing else.
Okay, Victoria, calm down.
I honestly do really love Eugene's character development. I don't think he's smart but nothing else. I mean, he was at the beginning of the show, but yeah. Yeah, but you could say that of just about any character of whatever their initial trait was. Whit gives good advice. That's his entire character. Yeah, he was like a mysterious grandfather. But he's terrible with his family. He was basically the doctor. And Bernard was just a curmudgeon at first, and Tom was just this simple guy. And Connie was Connie. Yeah. Okay. That's the only way you can summarize her. Big Commitment, I think, is pretty obviously a continuation of talking about the whole Woot and Penny thing. Mm-hmm. And I think the Connie subplot, kind of like they said in the description, is going to be interwoven. Yeah, it'll probably be in a Big Commitment, because I doubt they would delve into that in the same episode, that they would all deal with the initial reactions, which will be 777. After this, if I'm permitted, I want to listen to First Things First. But I also am going to listen to the last scene in Ties That Bind and try to do so without crying. Okay. I don't know if I'll succeed. Dinner Role Models, I feel like, is probably about Olivia and that thing, because it has to do with, like, dinner roles, and it sounds like object lessons and stuff, so it's probably about, like, family stuff, and Olivia's thing. So it's going to be, like, what's going to be in the episode, then. Because it's like, will Olivia discover how to create a perfect family? So it's like dinner together, devotions. Dinner roles are some kind of object lesson for role models. I was going to say, I'm going to be so emotional the day that Buck gives someone advice and teaches them a lesson, but then I'm like, wait, that happened with Camilla. Yeah. So, never mind. Any other predictions about dinner role models? I honestly, I don't, no. Okay, Out of the Woods, besides being an Into the Woods sequel. Maybe it's no. Out of the Woods and Into the Forest. No. I was going to say maybe it's like a kids' radio. thing, but I think if it was a kids' radio, they think they would mention it in the description.
By process of elimination, I think it must be the Eugene thing. Or Wooten rebuilding his house. I don't know. One of those two. I
want to say that Out of the Woods is this carnival one. Because, like I said before, if you look, you can see, like, a bunch of trees and...
Yeah, but no, we already figured out what the carnival is, remember? It's the last episode.
Yeah, but...
Anyway.
Maybe Out of the Woods is supposed to be, like, kind of a hint, poke at, like, out of the frying pan.
That's why I said out of the woods into the forest. Because I was going to say out of the woods into the fire. But then the joke didn't really translate very well in the way that I said it.
Yeah, we were talking about that before,
exactly.
too.
We were in the intermission between segments.
You guys didn't hear it, but just trust us on this one.
We did. We talked about it.
Yeah.
We're not lying to you. We would never deceive
We're totally not lying.
We would never deceive you. Let's get together.
Okay. No.
Yeah. This title, I saw it and I was like, wow. So we're actually going to get to see the Let's Get Together festival.
I didn't think we would. That's pretty cool in my opinion.
Because at the end of 58, they're like, are we going to continue? Or are we going to go through with the Let's Get Together festival? And they're like, everyone still wants to do it, but we'll just restructure the way that it's going to happen and what it's going to be. And then I was thinking about it in this episode, and suddenly I realized the album cover is of some sort of carnival thing. The album cover is of the Let's Get Together festival.
And if you look closely, the only people who are walking together that are the same sex are Buck and Eugene. Buck and Eugene confirmed.
No, Victoria.
No.
No. Bad you. Bad.
I'm kidding. My OTP is totally Buck and Penny. See how she's holding that ball? It's gonna, like, magically go through the gate and materialize through Wooten, and it's gonna hit Buck in the face, and that's gonna be the start of a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Gravity Falls, and the pig, and the ball, and Wendy, and all that.
And then there's gonna be time travel.
Yeah.
That's gonna be Out of the Woods. It's
with the Imagination Station. It's gonna be perfect. So yeah, Let's Get Together, yeah, is gonna be all about the festival finally happening and bringing together the themes of family from Olivia and everything else. And Wooten and Penny will be there, and Buck and Eugene will be there, and everything. And it's going to wrap up that part of 58, and it's going to be the album cover and all that stuff. And yeah.
I just had an idea. What if the Room of Consequence adventure of Olivia's started at the original Let's Get Together festival? And then things went on from there. I think that's probably how it started, actually.
I think it sounds like Whit was programming it before that came about, so I doubt it.
But wouldn't it be cool if it, like, started, it's like, oh, it's a Let's Get Together festival, and then things went on from there.
It's a possibility,
like, if you look
I guess,
at
and it keeps fast-forwarding on and on. Okay.
It was, like, the Let's Get Together festival, and then Penny throws that ball, and then it hit, Wooten goes into the water, but little does he know, it's actually infected with lesbian zombies.
I thought you were going to say Ebola, actually.
But got out of their cage from...
You went a very different direction than I was thinking.
No, from the carnival circus. And then they bite Wooten, and then he becomes a lesbian zombie. And then that's how the lesbian zombie apocalypse starts. And
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Olivia's adventure.
I'm so sorry.
They won't tell us what it is, so we have to come up with some theory.
Yeah, so those are our predictions for album 59, Taking the Plunge. That's about it, really. What are we doing next time, Victoria?
I don't know.
We are doing a review. What are we reviewing?
The Cure, Part 1.
Yeah.
Will or won't it have Jeff Lewis in it?
I don't know, but the other
Lewis.
episode was chosen assuming that it would, because the other episode is...
First Love.
Yes.
It'd be really awkward if Jeff wasn't in.
It would be awkward, because that's the way I picked it. But it would still work, because it's a February review. Valentine's Day, First Love.
Still fits.
Yeah, but it was supposed to come out in February.
Oh, interesting little tidbit that I found out by the book.
We may do a review episode for that book, by the way.
I wanted a review episode for the book.
I'll need to get it first, of course.
Will asks Katie, what her least favorite AIO episode was, and she said it was First Love.
Yeah, we need to stop now. We've been talking for a very long time.
I don't know what to think of that. She's like, oh, I don't like Jeff Lewis.
So next time, we are going to be reviewing The Cure, Part 1, and First Love. And,
Devin, would you agree with me that Jeff Lewis is what the mayor of Homestuck is to Odyssey? Jeff Lewis is to Odyssey what the mayor is to Homestuck.
I would not agree with that whatsoever.
Jeff Lewis is a universal constant.
Oh, that's true. But the mayor isn't a universal constant. It's John Cusack who's a universal constant in Homestuck.
Bleh.
On that note, that very relevant note, thank you for joining us on our side of the YouTube. This has been Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
Dark Side of the Moon.
And you've been watching The Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast.
I'm so sorry.
Goodbye.
Bye.